Greetings. We return to a tense battle already in progress. As last time, upon coming to Yesterhill, the group encountered a ritual that had only just begun, or rather begun shortly after they arrived. The devil Strahd von Zarovich himself coming in a deathly sign for the druids to start, for their time, the time of Winter Center, would be nigh. The group attempted to engage the ritual, but was cut off by Strahd, who attempted to engage them in noble conversation, but was denied. When Grayla attempted to surpass him, and then gave a little cheek on top. This led to not only a fight, but ultimately Grayla's death. We resume with one of the players, Crack, and some servants backtracking towards the statue, hoping to at least score that fancy glowing gem. Siguror proposed an opportunity to retreat, or not, at the behest of Irina attempting to use herself in bargaining for the remaining combatants' lives. Sasha, having done what he could do to target the Golthias tree, and of course sending the tiny servants with Crack, a portion anyway, before retreating himself. And that is where we will begin. Unless anyone has anything they would like to say before we start proper.
Nope.
Then we will start amidst the pounding rain and the carnage. Siguror, surrounded by a number of bats, looking into the eyes of the devil himself as a desperate Irina looks onwards and a drastically wounded Ismark bleeds out upon the ground. Still conscious, but barely.
Shit, yeah. Remembering the cadence of the conversation, I'm assuming he's not really going to listen to anything if anybody tries to say anything else other than her.
That is very likely.
Yeah, damn it.
You've been offered a choice, and it is possible to attempt to negotiate with him. However, he will be holding all of the cards in the situation, as you are quite surrounded.
True. Look at your Grayla's dead body. Fucking Jesus, he is just basically dying in his grasp. Yeah. Sorry for a second. Okay. Yeah, I'll just sheath sword and hold out hands to catch him, I suppose. I mean,
Strahd smiles. Then go. And he callously throws his mark to the side of Siguror. I'm gonna say a dex check to catch.
yeah. 16.
You manage. It's a little awkward, and also you kind of got to stoop for it. And once you do, you see that Strahd's in a good angle to be looking further down at you from where he is. Perhaps part of his plan, as he says, "Then you'd best go, before I rethink this generous offer." And turning to Irina, he says, "And for you, my dear, I have a lovely view I wish to show you before business here is concluded."
I assume he can't really walk very effectively.
No. He can lean on you, but that's probably going to be it.
Okay.
Strahd beckons, and Irina begins to climb on his horse.
Yeah, it's just Cliff wasn't trying to say anything to
He doesn't do anything, but Strahd is like watching you out of the corner of his eye, likely waiting for you to actually retreat before doing whatever comes next.
Crag is headed up towards the horses. I suppose we'll also go after the same direction that Sasha went, because I don't know where he's going. And if he splits up from everybody, might be hard to get a hold of him.
Then you can do that. The bats let you pass. Meanwhile, Crack is down the path, joined by which two tiny servants?
The two remaining?
Is it Gordon?
Hold on. It's before they're born.
Cool. Joined by Gordon and Hammer Brother, you reach the effigy from which you saw the green glow. Likely the gem that you seek. Now, as you look upon the statue, you notice two things. One, that its base has like larger, thicker wooden growths that go into the ground. Having like gotten a better look at the tree beneath you, I think this might actually be connected to the Gothias tree. And as such, may have a part of the ritual to play. Especially when you look and you see that now it's begun to like, its innards have begun to like writhe and move. Something's happening, but nobody's here to stop you from attempting to climb up. And while they are slower than Crag, your servants are able to join him.
I mean, they're slower at walking, but they're faster at climbing.
Oh, are they?
No, they have climbs. Yeah. They can get up to its chest, like in one movement.
Both Gordon and Hammerbrook prove quite adept climbers, whether you expected it or not. And before long, you are at about chest level on the effigy, where you see the glow.
Horrible.
It's pretty deep within. You're gonna have to like remove / like dig some stuff out.
Like with a spear?
Well, that's what my guys are already doing. Do you want me to roll stuff for that, or?
I will.
What do I roll? Attacks? Can they cut their way into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You may do the same, unless you have a different way that you wish to go about it.
I got a 17 and a 13.
Oh yeah, it's him.
One of those is a hit, the other one is not. In that the 13, like, it's not that great, like it holds.
6 damage on the one that managed to get it.
Can't heal us.
Yeah, it'll be like close range though.
Well, it's on an object.
Well, I literally meant it'll be close range, so probably
14.
is not attacking you, so. You blasted.
I had 8 damage.
As Crack blasts and hacks, and as Gordon and Hammerbro both assault this visage of the creature that was formerly terrorizing you moments ago, there's a crackling sound from within the effigy, almost as if its materials have like a life of their own. You are making progress, slowly but surely.
Are there other attacks?
Not yet.
Okay.
Sasha is retreating.
Okay, so once I get into the woods, then I'm going to use my first level spell slot to resummon my unseen servant. And then I am going to have my unseen servant lead me into the mist. And then once I'm in the mist, last time I looked at a map, what is the closest way through the mist between where Yester Hill is the Wizards of Wands. Because what Sasha's going to do is he's going to go through the mist to that point and then go from there to the Wizards of Wands. He's not going to stop for anything. He'll take levels of exhaustion if he has to. He's not going to sleep, he's just going to go through it. Since the Vishnani can go through the mist and other people can't, that means the barbarians and the druids shouldn't be able to follow him. At least, that's how I'm pretty sure. Or that's how Sasha's pretty sure it works, right? Only the Vishnani can go through the mist?
Yeah, you're pretty sure.
Okay. So basically he's going to use the mist to avoid like any encounters with anything, and then he's going to rush them as fast as possible, not sleeping. He'll eat along the way if he has to, but he's not going to like stop for anything. He's just going to go until he gets there, taking exhaustion levels as necessary, so that he can get there before Winter Splinter and the Druids do. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just run into the mists and fucking I'm gone. Because as far as I know, I can still go through the mists. So now, if I start choking once I go into the mists, then obviously I will delay that, but I won't know that until I walk in.
I would like a perception check from you.
I can't make perception checks.
Oh, that was just disadvantage.
No, I'm blind.
Okay.
Unless it's one based on hearing or smell. So I guess I should say if it's a sight-based perception check, I can't make it. I think
Yeah, it's not.
Alright. 18, 19 perception.
I wanted a disadvantage.
Why?
Because, like, it's stormy.
Okay. Fucking 1, so 2.
You get to a point where you believe it's safe to stop, and you recast your.
Well, I can walk and cast. I'm not ritual casting it, I'm using one of my spell slots, so it takes an action. So just as I'm walking, use a first level spell slot to resummon my instant servant, and then have it take me by the wrist and lead me into the mists.
As you walk and cast, you're able to recast your summon servant, but about at that time, Sasha bumps into something, and then, like, afterwards, hears, like, this guttural, crazed grumbling from somewhere in front of him.
So do I roll initiative?
Yes.
Great. Another one. That's a good sign.
We should check this.
I got a 3 on initiative.
Alright. Whoever it is, or whatever it is, reveals itself to be unfriendly. Sasha feels himself struck with something blunt in the chest.
It has advantage. But I'm sure you're going for
I did this time. For 8 damage. It is now Sasha's turn.
Alright, I am going to cast sorry,
Okay. Actually, one person's part is a little longer, so I'll do that as you're checking. I'll crack back to you. You, mysterious stranger.
Oh, I didn't.
You found yourself running. A bunch of friends from your past had almost caught you at a disadvantage, and There's a portion of the woods that you've been told by the man who's currently helping you out, master, tutor, whatever you would call him, has cautioned you to not go near, but you didn't really have a whole lot of choices. And hey, you're better now. You've got some new power behind you that you didn't have before. You're not some too big criminal. So, at least not anymore. So, you decided to risk it and found yourself swallowed in mist and then running through more forest. Though this seemed to repeat itself. It was different somehow. Thankfully, you were found almost immediately by a band of boisterous men wearing bright colors who were more than eager to take you into their party because these parts of the woods are quite dangerous, especially to people who are not familiar. While they had promised to lead you to town in safety, definite safety, the amount of times that they asked about who you were with or who would be looking for you and how much money you happen to come here with and if you knew exactly where you are over the course of the day, like at least a couple of times every hour, slowly led you to believe that perhaps your guides did not have your best interests at heart.
Okay.
It became dusk and then evening without so much as a hint that you were headed towards any kind of town or civilization. You've never seen something like this. It's almost like they're specifically avoiding paths other than like one that you crossed by maybe midday.
Okay. So they're super sketchy. And so are they like asleep right now or?
They are not. They are currently leading you, and it's at this point in the night that they stop. Someone else, a man dressed in like similar clothing and looks vaguely similar, like a couple of them, like they could be brothers, like actually stops right as one of them is once again like asking about you and where exactly you said you were from and how many people were you with again, because he forgot. When the person coming towards them like stops and like for the first moment in like the whole day, they seem to like not be paying complete attention to you as the one attempts to start explaining something in a hushed tone to the others. It's raining, there's like lightning striking, it's kind of difficult to hear, but apparently something's wrong.
So they're not paying attention to me right now, right?
I'm paying like half attention.
Oh, so I'm still being watched.
Yeah, like a little bit.
If can I roll perception to like hear what they're talking hushed about?
You can. First thing to zip back over.
How far is the based off like where I moved and where I remember it's being? How far is the Goliath Street from me?
I would say pretty far.
I need a number because I have a solid range, so I need to go specific.
I'd say like about 100 feet.
Okay.
It's gonna sound dumb, but I was about to say you don't have line of sight.
Of course.
It's you like down the hill. I almost said a dumb thing.
Okay. So, I am going to cast a silent image behind him or her, and I'm going to, to the best of my knowledge, recreate the druid that we captured. And then, since I was in his head, obviously I don't know druidic, right? But I've heard samples of their strange language, and I was in his head for a while. Can I use minor illusion to have the image basically say a bunch of druidic nonsense on him to try to distract him?
Yeah.
So I do that, and then I run 30 more feet towards the mist. And if I take an attack of opportunity, then whatever, I'm just trying to maybe confuse him for the second. I mean, because these are barbarians. They're probably pretty dumb. No offense. So maybe it'll be like, what the fuck is he doing here? And that'll give me enough time to get to the mist. Sasha's just trying to get to the mist because in his mind they can't follow him in there, so he'll be safe once he's there.
You don't make a check against the illusion unless you inspect it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to spend your action to roll an intelligence investigation check against the illusion, which is part of the reason I'm using it, because this guy's probably the dumbest bricks.
If there was an initial check, it was going to give you advantage because you totally have the
Well, you
exact
could
track.
give him disadvantage, right?
When he or she inspects it, maybe. You, Sasha, thinking quickly, create an illusion. And you hear, and you produce garbled druidic nonsense, and you hear more authentic druidic garbled nonsense, as whoever you ran into is, at least for the moment, distracted. You then run. I would like a reflex or a dex save from you.
A dex save. Oh, okay.
On the off chance you trip on something.
11.
You're running, maybe you're a little hurried.
I got 11.
There is a point where, like, the slope
No, I
might
should
be,
know.
like, a little
My
steep, but you
unsincerity-
manage to keep your feet, like,
I was gonna say that my
Spirit.
sensor can see stuff, so like it can move me around things.
you continue your escape. As you are running, you hear a couple more voices from, like, vaguely, like, your right and your left. More druids from their garbled nonsense. Perhaps they've noticed you. Perhaps they've noticed your vision. They are close enough,
Well, I'm
so
maintaining concentration on it, so hopefully they'll see that and warn me.
we shall see. But in the immediate, back over to our mysterious stranger. What'd you get on perception?
Not very good. 9.
Okay. The guy is whispering. You can kind of, you're able to hear that there's like there's a general tone of hushed either awe or fear, but you can't get like words. Whatever they saw either scares them or scares them, but in a different way. The men talking to him don't seem to be too concerned as he's speaking, for whatever that is worth.
So what direction would I say, like, if I had to guess, which direction would we be traveling?
Maybe south.
South. And that's the one direction the path goes.
Well, right now you're in the woods. You're not on a path. You crossed a path maybe like midday, but they
Was
said
the-
there are better ways through the woods than this.
Was the path also going south, or was it going in a different direction?
To the best of your remembrance, it was going in a different direction. It was going like north, northeast.
I'll briefly say I gotta use bathroom or whatever equipment they use back then, and I'll go into the woods on whatever side is closer.
A stout one of the men turns and says, "Oh, I will join you. Remember, it's dangerous in the woods." And as he like starts walking and like takes an arm around your shoulder, he says,
Yeah.
He says, remember I told you this place, lousy with werewolves. Have you ever seen a werewolf? Truly frightening.
I've never seen a werewolf up close. What do they look like? Have you seen one?
Oh yes, it's quite frightening. Very large. Large as in the tail, sometimes even larger. You can actually tell by the amount of whiskers they have, how old they are. It's not a wives' tale. let me tell you how I know. And he's like kind of half steering you, like unless you try to resist him through like the woods.
Are we heading sort of in the direction I want to go?
No.
No? Fuck it, I'll go with him anyway. I guess.
And then maybe like, I'm gonna say like 10 feet away from like where the others are, he says, "Alright, don't be shy."
I was joking, but apparently I was right.
I can go when someone's watching. I need a little bit more privacy. I don't know how your culture is, but in mine,
From having spent the day with these men, you know it will be quite difficult to persuade them when they have their mind set otherwise. Especially if they don't intend on bringing you anywhere. I'm going to hop to somebody else.
Okay.
In the meantime, strategize for how you will get out of this.
If they ever closed captioning for videos, 90% of your dialogue would be snorking.
You did it again! As I said!
Fist the character. Giant cow person.
All of your characters do it though! Siguror is heading through the rings that surround this area in the direction that he saw Sasha go off towards.
As we break the tree line, if I hand him a healing potion, do I think he could drink it, or do I have to feed it to him?
Well, you'd have to get to the tree line first. You've penetrated maybe 2 of the circles when you spot a couple of barbarians walking not towards you, but in your direction. Their hair is wild and tangled. They have their weapons out, but they're like slack and held downwards at their sides. One of them is gives you the eye very briefly. Other than that, they are about to move past you.
Like in the direction of the ritual?
Yes.
I'm fucking carrying dead weight. It's not a good idea to just start a fight. I'm gonna try and walk past them, basically try to ignore them.
There's a very, very earthy smell that assaults Siguror as they pass, but they do pass. Ismark attempts to grunt something against your chest, but is inaudible.
Wait a moment. We're almost through.
Meanwhile, back at the effigy, the rain continues to pound. This wooden mud figure continues to retch and slither beneath your handholds. You're not threatened into falling or anything, but it's perhaps maybe a little uncomfortable, perhaps maybe unsettling. Regardless, at the very least, the servants continue their task undaunted, unless I am corrected.
No, they do not stop.
Can't stop.
Yeah, you too.
18 and 14.
15.
I believe those are both good.
15.
6 and 7 for damage.
8.
Cool.
Key glass.
You desire to blast, and you can. And you said you have your servants got
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
16. To hit.
That is hit.
I have 5 damage.
5 damage. The effigy is naughty and hardly packed, but has no inherent defensive skills as opposed to a moving target of some kind. He says you had 6 damage.
No, 5.
As your assault continues, you and Sasha's servants slowly but surely are making like a compression in the chest. You see the glow starting to get brighter, and the cackling now turns into hissing from within the effigy as something is beginning to happen. Did you desire to make any more attacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop until freaking get the damage signed.
Yes, is he making another like attack?
Well, I meant
turn?
this round.
Oh,
Because I thought you'd only made 1 attack and you get
no.
like 2.
I did too.
Oh.
The key blast was the second.
My bad. You continue as lightning strikes in the distance and the wind begins to howl. We then turn to Sasha while jabbering nonsense can be heard around him. None of it comes close to him, at least in the time that he is running.
So that's 60 feet of movement if I action dash them. I've moved for 4 or 5 turns. How far away do I think I have from this one? Two of those turns were double movement, 2 of them were normal movement, so 30, 60. I've moved 180 feet from the battlefield.
Not far at all. All of a sudden, as if a switch has been flipped, your whole body feels damp.
I will say aloud, it has been some time. And I will turn and... Well, you know what I said before. I'm going to use the mist to try to get back to the Wizards of Wines, or as close to the Wizards of Wines as possible, attempting to avoid all encounters because they can't come in here, and I can't, so they can eat shit. Specifically the barbarians and the druids, not Siguror. You should see her.
Well, I mean, I can't go in there either.
Well, okay, yeah, but I didn't know you were following me. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm specifically doing it to dodge encounters so I can get back there as soon as possible, and I'm just gonna run. I'll run the entire time. I'll pull a Legolas and an Aragorn and a Gimli, and I will just run for days on end. I have 14 Constitution. I can surprisingly, I can run for decently like a long amount of time.
You disappear into the mist. Your purpose is decided.
I
Then
successfully fled.
comes back to our mysterious stranger.
Do you still try and watch me eat?
I told you you're gonna have to like you started to mount a defense and he disregarded it. So now you're gonna have to come up with something.
I'm gonna head a little bit further into the bush and see if he follows me. And then if he does follow me, I'm gonna turn away from him so that I'm not facing him. And I will try to... Am I still visible to the rest of the group?
How far do you go into the bush?
Let's say like 30 feet if I can.
Okay, the bush is like semi-tall, so he doesn't follow you because like you aren't fully obscured. Like it's up to like your waist, and now you're like in the center of the bush. You get the feeling that if you were obscured from his sight, he would have followed you. Now he's just looking at you. And you are technically within sight of the group still, but not very much. Like you're far away and there's like a little bit of tree cover, but like if something big happened, they could see you.
Mm.
So currently, for all you know, they're still talking with their friend.
I am gonna act like I dropped something, and then I'm gonna duck down into the bush, and I'm gonna roll stealth and try to silently move away. If that's okay. I mean, I'm sure he'll come look where I was. Yeah.
Once you get out of the bush.
Is there more wooded after this, or is there just the one bush?
Well, there is more woods and bush, but it's not like that packed together.
Okay, so it's sparse. Not really.
Well, it's more like it's not densely packed that you could have continuous cover.
But he can dash in between cover.
Now, if you attempt to stealth, it will depend on how much faster than him you think you are, as well as how quiet you think you can be compared to
I think
his
it can
own perception.
be quiet, but I'm
Which-
almost certainly not faster than him. So,
Alternatively, if you have any tricks up your sleeve that might make this easier.
not at the moment. Actually I do, but I don't want to use it right now.
Then, by all means.
Alright, I'll roll stealth. I got a 25. So, I'm proficient in stealth.
So you got 6, huh?
Yeah, it's 6. It's not as much as some people
You pretend to have dropped something. You lean over as you hear him go, "Hey, I'm sure that can wait. Come on, you don't want to get piss on it, do you?" And he walks. You hear him walk closer, and you kind of half instinct, so it's whole instinct, like kind of dash as quietly as you can to like the next bush, and he doesn't immediately know where you are as he like you hear him like enter the bush and then go, "Oh, very funny. Come on, stop screwing around."
I'm gonna watch him, and if he looks, and like if he turns another direction, I'm gonna try and dash to another bush. If I can.
You stop and you wait for your next opportunity. Meanwhile, as Siguror continues through the rings, he sees others. Several more druids walking towards him. They don't even spare a look, however. They're all muttering to themselves in that strange language.
Same verse, second, same verse. Keep going. I'm not just gonna drop Ismark and just start
That's
attacking.
not what I was implying. I was implying that you did a not phrase at all. Second verse, same
Same as the first.
2 stone in the bush hand.
They drift.
Cat 9 lives.
They drift around you. They're muttering, picking up volume as they get like closer to the rings. You feel something cool and liquid like start running down your side. It's his mark.
Did he?
No.
Oh,
the
he's
wounds is
bleeding.
bleeding.
Okay. Oh, thank God. It could have been so much worse.
Are there no enemies directly around except for the ones that just walk past?
Can I get a perception check?
No. 8.
None.
Alright, fucking just stop and look to see blood.
Yeah.
Alright, just shove a healing potion. Just drink this now.
He gargles something, but does not resist. As you feed his mark a healing potion.
That's the one.
It's 2d4 plus 4.
You see a bit of color return to his face. Some of his vitality is restored. He now gurgles at least coherently. We have to go back. We can't let him take her.
We're not leaving her alone. I'm sure there is a plan. Probably. Just in my head, that's what I'm thinking. Just
I'm sure there's a plan.
there's probably a plan being brewed up. If he's actively bleeding from somewhere, take a cloth, give his open hand it, and tell him to press against it and hold it.
You give it to him, and he kind of half flops, half slaps it down, and says, "No, listen to me. He's going to take her. He's going to kill her.
We know where he's taking her.
But it will be too late by then." And he starts to try to get up off you.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. I'm gonna roll intimidate, just grab him by the scruff, pick him up just eye to eye. Your sister made the choice to save the rest of us by giving herself up. She knows we are not going to leave her alone. Do not be an idiot and throw her gift to the mud.
Alright, go ahead.
12? What am I talking about? 11?
Ismark is pushing off of you, and his hand slips against your shoulder, and he falls to the ground, and starts breathing heavily, but doesn't move.
Just gonna pick him back up to the nice sling position. Just
Meanwhile,
keep going.
back at the effigy.
More attacks.
Yes,
You
it
want
would not.
Keep up the
me
barrage.
to keep my roll, or do you want me to roll?
One hit for 5.
Go ahead.
One got a 9, so I assume that misses.
I got a
It's not possible to flank.
6.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, 16. 16 inch. Key blast. 12.
Wait. Have you only been having +4 on your spare attacks? Because you got 2 from dueling.
You're still attacking.
Dueling is as long as you're attacking with a one-handed weapon, you deal an extra 2.
Unless there's something in the flavor that says you can't, then I would say you can.
You need an open hand for the other one.
It might sound a little silly, but I'm really glad for it.
Well, extra 2 damage on the first one. The other one got 12, which I assume missed on the key blast.
Oh wait, you said 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm on a miss. Please range.
First attack though got how much damage?
8.
Okay. As you blast, but I don't know, you kind of it's a little slick, so we can say you kind of slip as you're blasting just a little bit, and your hand kind of goes wide. The hissing from within reaches a fever pitch, a little bit above you, maybe 5 feet above. The twigs and earth that comprise this thing morph and bend, and 3 blights materialize from within it and start clawing on all fours down towards the 3 of you.
Great. That is...
Monkey blast.
Fantastic.
Hissing and snapping, each one heads towards each one of you. One coming in contact with Crack first. And it like lashes out with this tangled claw, but like misses, like maybe catching like a feather. It's like drifts off into the wind. Another one like starts heading towards a hammer bro who likely will not be intimidated. How much?
15 or plus.
Rolling another technical best. Unfortunately, hammer bro is struck.
For how much?
Oh, it's gonna forge, but I remember. For 6 damage,
Okay.
as a portion of his handle is like partially splintered. The other attempts to lash out at Gordon, but its tangled claws bounce off of Gordon's center of mass. They hiss and snarl. Whatever you were doing seems to be working. It seems to have also drawn the ire of the land itself.
David Strahd already killed Grail. I'm not sure how much more of his ire we can get.
The subland. The subland.
I see.
I'm pretty sure we can get more if we try kicking him in the neck.
No one.
I don't know if that would.
Absolutely no one. Me right now. Strahd's dick don't work.
They still probably don't like it, but yes, you are correct. It might downgrade to like a gentlemanly rage. Like I do say good sir.
Look, no one said anything, and I am stating so that everyone knows. Strahd's dick don't work.
Sasha is running.
I run for days.
And as he runs, he starts to feel less like he's in mist and more like he's in like a more palpable mist. It doesn't impede him, but it almost starts to like drag at his clothing and start like clawing at bits of him, but gently, just enough to like frighten you for a moment, like something's gonna happen, and then nah. It's reacting, it's treating you in a way it's never treated you before, though you don't exactly have time to stop and contemplate this. Before you stop for nothing.
Wait, do I think it's gonna actually start like choking me? Because I think if I think it's gonna start choking me, I'm gonna try to stay near the edge of it.
You're not sure, and it hasn't like started to do anything sinister yet. But if you desire to be cautious, you can specify that you're gonna like try to be at the edge.
I'm gonna try to skirt the edge at least at first to see if maybe the mist now will try to kill me.
Something's happening, but for the moment it's presumably safer to be in here. You're not hearing anything other than the whooshing of the mists that entrap so many. Meanwhile, it's back to our mysterious stranger. As you're looking and he's looking, I've told you it is very dangerous to be by yourself in these woods. You would not want your only saviors to get angry, would you? There is a moment where he's not looking directly where you are.
Dark. Do you want another spell check?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. But 14.
You wait, then you choose your moment and dash. There's a particularly loud thunderclap at that moment, or at least the moment after like you start your dash. So for a little while, it is not completely certain whether or not you were successful. There's quiet, save for the pounding rain. then you hear footsteps coming in the direction of the bush that you're hiding in. Come now. And you hear like something click. It is no good to be hiding like this. We're going to get wet. I want. Actually. Never mind. What's your AC?
It's low. Because you didn't answer my question, so it's 13.
You get nothing. That's the answer to the question. Okay. You're hiding. There's a moment, and then blades come through the bush. Like one and then another. One coming like inches within like your face. And then like another that's unsettlingly close to where like your leg is. He may not know exactly where you are, but he is confident that you are in here. And furthermore, his patience has been tested.
Do you want me to roll
Broken.
this?
I do.
Okay.
So first, you pissed off Strahd
Yeah.
and died. And now you're gonna die because you wanted to take a piss.
No.
I feel like one of these is maybe a little not like the other.
Yeah. I wanted to
It's
get away, but
spectrum.
it's super sketchy.
I know.
got,
I'm just
5,
saying.
So I didn't go great. So he probably goes first.
But death by
what did you
piss,
get?
maybe.
I got a 5.
Oh, I didn't hear the 5. Sorry. Yes, he did get higher than you.
Yeah.
But if he keeps hitting and missing, or striking and missing, he might second guess himself about you being in that bush.
He's gonna have to miss another round. But in the meantime,
I'm just starting to use cut. There's no more bush.
in the meantime, actually, yes. Ismark is on the ground. His hair hangs in his face. He's only holding himself up by his arms. He's not moving, though you can tell he's still breathing.
Oh no, I'm reaching down.
Oh,
to,
right, I
yeah.
forgot. You reach down, and when you drag him up, you see the face of a broken man. He's staring seemingly off into the distance. There's a look of utter hopelessness and despair upon his face. He doesn't even look at you or seemingly react as you haul him to his feet. You are looking at a man with absolutely no idea of what to do now, and perhaps no idea of how to do now.
We are moving. If you simply wish to lay down and die, even after everyone else is willing to continue to move, then maybe it may not be worth dragging you by your hair.
Don't be a dickhead.
But are you really willing and allowing yourself to give up now when we have been given a second chance? We were not prepared for the encounter that we came across, but now we have a chance to prepare. It may seem like all the cards are on his side, but we have been dealt something. It is up to us to do something with it. Do you want to make some type of roll? Persuasion, I guess?
You gotta roll for him.
You should get him away from you before I'm trying to do motivational speeches.
He, for a moment, his eyes focus. And he says, "My sister is dead, and it is all your fault." And he kind of finds enough strength to kind of like push himself off of you, and he like stumbles and almost falls, but doesn't quite. And he lowers his arms, and now he's looking at you, and you're looking at him as the rain pours down and lightning strikes in the distance. Back at the effigy.
So, my guys are gonna start trying to clear out the lights before they get overrun. Well, actually, no, they can't because their command was to dig out the gem, so they're gonna ignore the attacks and do that because that's how their command works.
Did I get initiative from your from the servants?
So you don't ask for initiative.
I will take initiative now that you're being actively resistant.
So the thing is, they don't have initiative, they work off of my initiative. So how do you want me to do that? Do you want me to just roll initiative for Sasha?
Yeah, sure.
8.
Mm, 24.
You and your advantage.
You're literally complaining about something that Grona also has.
Yeah, but Grenna's not here right now.
Okay.
It's not convenient for him now.
8. Yeah. It is Crack's turn first. The wind howls.
I'm gonna attack the tree with the spear. Okay, I got 19 on it and 14 damage. And my key list. It will be on one of the lights. And I'll probably have disadvantage because they're closer in my face. Probably should
Actually,
do different.
something happens. When you make your first attack, you finally have destroyed enough of the effigy that you can now see it. Even though the earth is still moving and knitting itself together and something foul is happening, you have a direct line of sight to the gem. You see it within. It is as they described, a large, pine cone sized, green, glistening gem. I just want to establish that now you have direct line of sight to it. You can then make your attack against the blend.
Since picking up an object is if they use an object action, and my guys still have movement, now that it has been revealed, can they reach in and grab it?
I'll say on their turn, yeah.
Didn't their turn just happen? That's why I'm asking. They just use their attacks.
Well, no, now that I'm going on initiative, it's
Okay.
technically like Crack right now. Though,
Never mind.
I got 23 to hit.
But Crack could pull it out after attacking that thing.
as hit,
And 8 damage.
But
you strike out
those guys.
and destroy
No, but it'll stop it from
one of the
being
blights.
trapped back inside of it. The thing is healing itself.
Now, it is the servant's turn.
So they grab it.
Servants reach in and pry. It takes a little bit, but it pops out. And then, as it has been grasped, suddenly, like, the hissing is still happening, but the weaving and writhing stops, and the structure starts to collapse in on itself.
They jump off and start running into the woods. Because my command was for them to just bring it into the woods and then just like hide it somewhere. Although if he's falling, you can just grab it. Once they do that, like they're not going to fight him if he does that. They follow their command, which is to run it away from the druids into the woods and like hide it somewhere.
They are falling.
My best shot, can I do it?
Yeah, if you don't want
My
Yeah,
guys can
place.
run down it because they're climb speed, so they just. Unless you know, as they're running off into the woods, they are like holding it like this, going. "Arr!"
One on one side, one on the other.
25.
Yeah.
So far.
They do.
I was asking when they get sleep.
I don't know.
If it's not listed on the sheet, he doesn't have it.
I'll see.
I'm saying, then he doesn't have it. Level 4. So he doesn't have it.
There's nothing that says like you're. Oh wait, no, never mind. Don't even.
Yeah, they just move at double speed and try to get away.
You were falling. You were able to like kind of maneuver yourself, so you're not gonna. You're not gonna hit too hard, and we're gonna say that you managed to like fall and not like hurt yourself too badly, and as you fall and you see the servants like running off into the woods. Out of character, is there a specific direction you're supposed to be going?
Beeline for the nearest woods, but I think the woods were back the way we came.
Towards the woods.
Technically. Ish.
It depends where the nearest woods are.
Well, no,
'Cause I
that
know
makes sense.
The side, because if I remember correctly, this was the place, right? Assuming this was the place, these were the woods we came on, and over here is all mist, so there aren't any woods over here, right? So logically, they'd run back the way we came, because those are like
Yeah,
the woods around.
I don't
I was just asking to double check. Then they're gonna run back the way we came, as fast as possible, using double movement to get into the woods and get away.
It's not gonna happen quite yet, but once they're in the woods, like
They'll run for a couple hours and then hide it.
okay,
They should have another 7. They were the last ones I brought up, so they should have like 7 hours and like 55 minutes of active time.
okay. You fall. They happen to be able to like run down a portion of it quickly enough, like before it like all caves in on itself and collapses. Once you are amidst the ruins of this effigy to the devil, you notice that like one of the remaining blights like kind of hisses and also collapses in on itself, but like smaller, dying. There's a thunder strike in the distance, and you, I believe, still have movement if you want to do something after that happens, and seeing the servants run back the way you came, holding the gem aloft, perhaps somewhat comedically.
Not whole as far as
You're running. They're running. Meanwhile, Sasha is also running. It's not becoming hard to breathe or anything yet, but more and more drag is happening. You don't know how long, because on pure adrenaline, time is nothing.
Okay.
You're definitely starting to get tired, but
How
That's to be
tired?
expected.
Okay, but not like an unusual amount of tired.
Not
I
an
can
unusual
roll it.
amount of tired.
Okay.
Like
Because I'm trained in medicine, so if I start becoming adversely affected by the fog, I think could I have a chance of like realizing that since I know?
well, you
about
will
the-
realize once it like starts happening. Right now, there's like kind of a build. It's continuing to drag against you, but like not outright obstructing or suffocating you. But you know something's gonna happen. You just don't know how long.
Okay. Well then, if I know that the mist is gonna start choking me, then I'll run out, hopefully further along than I was before. Or you know what? How close am I to the edge of the mist?
I'll say however close you got when you were suspicious, because you wanted to be like kind of on the edge. So if you wanted to be,
Then I will stay
Like
on the
5
edge until I start taking actual penalties, and then because I'm still safe in the mist for now. So until I start taking that, I still have to start making checks. I'll stay in the mist.
meanwhile, at the bush. You must deal with another blade. First and foremost, for your current adversary goes first. Despite the cover granted to you this time, a blade pierces your flesh. As you hear, "Ah, found you!" Taking 4 damage. I told you it was dangerous out here. Lightning strikes. It's now your turn.
I'm going to shocking grasp him. He's not like, I don't assume he's gonna stop attacking me after he found me, right? No. Okay. Then I'm gonna shocking grasp. Is he wearing metal armor or anything? No. Okay. 25 to hit.
That is a hit.
14 damage, and he has no reaction, so now I'm gonna run away without provoking attacks opportunity.
You shocking grasp him. He's a little taken aback and very much damaged. He actually, like, after being shocked, like, falls over and passes out.
Huh.
I'll run off before he comes to. I don't think he's. I'll check him real fast. He's not dead, right? He's just unconscious. Is he dead?
Well, I know with magic you don't get to choose. Is there
It's
some
actually a
circumstance?
melee spell attack, so
Yeah.
you
Okay.
can choose.
I thought there was an exception. So you got to choose.
Oh,
in
I
this
don't want him
case.
dead.
Then you like lean over,
I'll check him real
maybe
fast.
reassure yourself or feel good, like okay, good, you weren't trying to.
Okay.
Because he's not. However, at that moment, you do hear someone shout, "Hey, what is taking so long?" And footsteps, signaling a good time to do something at least.
Does he have like a coin pouch on him or anything that I can cut off him real fast? Because other than that, then I'm going to take that and run. Or if I don't see anything like that, I'm just going to grab his weapon and run off.
It's not super apparent. You'd have to like take a second to like look him over, which may or may not spoil your lead.
I'll just run off. I'll try to sneak off. I'll try to not be seen.
Okay, I want a roll from you.
15.
Yeah, we'll be back to that. For no one, can't see this, but it does happen. Upon a high cliff, Strahd sits astride his nightmare with his new companion, gazing down at the dancing druids below.
Wait, who sees this?
No one. I'm describing something for like out of character purposes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was confused. I was like, what?
I don't normally do it, but this was. As he watches, and she, silent but from different ends, there comes a moment where the druids stop dancing. Strahd looks over in the direction of where the effigy once stood and cocks an eyebrow. Rhythmic chanting turns to a druidic babbling, but angry druidic babbling. Strahd smirks. Interesting. But I suppose it is no matter. I have done what I can and emerged with much greater prize. Arita doesn't look upon him, but murmurs, "As long as you keep your promise." Strahd smiles. "Of course. I shall not pursue them at all." The leader of the ritual looks up and throws its hands and shouts towards Strahd in angry but also pleading gibberish. Strahd looks down upon him and points in a direction.
Dope. That's really
That druid turns to the other druids and starts waving his hands, and then the druids and the barbarians start to move towards the entrance of Yesterhill. Irina looks up. "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, nothing. Just keeping my promise. But I have had enough. Though this sight before me is beautiful, it is not nearly as beautiful as you. I think it is time we depart to a more suitable setting." Then, upon that cliff, he vanishes. As Siguror and Ismark are staring at one another, Ismark now staring with feeling, resolve, hate, the both of you hear something, even through the pounding rain, a large amount of footsteps. It is not too difficult for you to see, taking a brief eye of Ismark, unless you really don't want to, that the circle, the druids, the barbarians have started to move, and move with purpose. They're heading towards where the effigy once stood. It's now gone. You kind of thought you heard something, but you were a little distracted. Some of them are starting to separate from the group, spreading out a little bit. Some of them are headed in your and Ismark's direction. As lightning flashes, you can see angry faces, weapons being held aloft.
I assume I can see the path, roughly guessing from where we were walking. Can I see the mist from here?
You can. It's kind of far though.
Does the path that Sasha took seem to be leading to it? Instead of the forest?
I was
Like
in
from
the
the-
forest when I went to the mist. Because I started my actions last session by going into the forest, and then I cut. I assumed the barbarians I came across were ones that were in the woods. I wasn't out in the open. Remember? Because I went into the trees.
There was some
First.
open before trees and before mist. Now, it is anybody's guess if it does, because yes, technically the mist is in this direction, but the mist is in like all this direction. But so are the woods, and so are the circles.
Well, seems to know this
It
land.
would be
so...
it would be a shot in the dark to go, yeah, he could have just as easily taken to the woods. You could try to like maybe look for tracks or something. However, the woods may, if you saw like a couple come from the woods may also contain other things. Whether or not you want to look around for your friend as other enemies are coming from both directions is something else you might want to also
We need to take
evaluate.
We need to take what you can get. The effigy is gone. It seems like cards have been played already. There's
What are
some.
you going to do?
There's something to deal with. We can deal with it later. For now, we have trouble coming.
We're going to stand and fight.
Not how many?
There are like 4 coming from like the split off on the path, and as you are talking, there are like 2 barbarians and a druid coming from like the woods.
I was hoping to catch him before. We have to get to the horses. He knows these lands. Hopefully we see him. If they cut our way through, I'll make an opening.
Well, they're not upon you yet. At this point, you have a choice. He, perhaps being in a bit of a fatalistic mood, was asking, so we're going to stand and fight. Like, he wasn't outlining the only option you have.
Okay.
So you
Then,
have a chance to run if
Okay.
you desire. Though
Then-
you will have to outrun a number of enemies. Like Crack is about to do.
We're to make for the forest, circle them, try to get to the horses. And if not, cut them down.
Ismark grunts. Both of you, start your escape. Crack has already started his escape, his way partially illuminated by the glowing gem held by the servants. You run, hoping that nothing finds you. You're running, you think you hear something in the forest like at one point, and then you think you hear something else, but like you don't see anything, and unless you're stopping for whatever reason, you don't stop. There's a point after what seems like forever where they do come to a stop, like in front of a large old tree. One of them indicating that they're about to do something. If there's a specific way that you want to have
Yeah,
the area.
basically, well, they're not going to bury it. What they're going to do is, since they have a climb speed, they're going to find a tree with a beehive or a wasp nest, preferably one that's really tall. They're going to climb up the tree, they're going to take the gem, and they're going to, one of them's going to grab the hive, the other one's just going to be like, and just shove it in there.
There's a point where the hammer like stops. Hammer Bro stops Gordon and like indicates to a very large tree. Gordon seems to catch on immediately, and they both begin climbing the tree. They disappear almost into the top of the dark canopy, and then you hear some jostling, some some leaves fall. You hear a bird take flight. You think you hear buzzing and grunting. After a few moments, the like green glow disappears into somewhere, and the two like drop back down, triumphantly posing. Perhaps.
They cross arms and look at each other, and they both give like a and then they're just gonna wait by the tree, and if any druids or barbarians come along, at least until they power down, they're just gonna attack any druids or barbarians that come along.
Yeah, right. And they last for quite a while, right? You've told me before.
How long has it been since the fight?
I'll say at the point where they're hiding it, like 2 hours.
Then they have 6 more hours of guarding.
Okay.
And they will guard it for 6 hours, and if any monsters, druids, or barbarians come close to the tree, they will attack.
Triumphant, they cross arms and appear to stand guard. What will Crack do?
Now, they're not commanded to stop Crack, so if Crack goes up there to grab the thing, don't let him. Because
Okay.
that has nothing to do with how they were programmed.
Then bear that in mind. Rain falls.
You're charged the stun, right? When you get back to those farmers.
That's what they need for the farm.
It's not their farm, it's their winery.
Grape farm.
Vineyard is the term.
I'll get it. I'll go climb up and get it.
Okay.
So,
You decide to climb up and retrieve it.
athletics, right?
As you start to move, both of the servants like acknowledge you, seemingly, like they know that you're there, but like don't move to stop you.
If it's athletics, it's 6.
Well, actually, I'm gonna say I probably don't need like a roll because it's a little slick, but it's just like climbing. It's more like a matter of time. Well, actually, I guess if you don't have a climb speed, maybe you should be having a check. So we're gonna say yeah, and you did, and you started, but kind of like slipped down a little bit. Almost fell off, but you're a little more dexterous, so you're okay for now. Sure.
Alright, I got 10 this time.
You start climbing. It's tricky. It's slow going. You're gonna be at this for a bit. Meanwhile, Sasha runs and runs and runs and runs. How soon do you need to make your first exhaustion check?
For like normally?
Yeah.
Day of running, isn't it?
That's the thing is, I was trying to find rules for that, but I
Okay.
couldn't. So I don't know.
Then let's go ahead and say now. Your time is not in sync with everybody else's.
But they have forced march.
But the mist isn't like choking me or anything. It's just normal exhaustion.
It's starting to, but it hasn't like actually done anything yet. It's growing heavier. It's
But
gearing up.
but David, I'm asking you to clarify. Is this a normal exhaustion, a normal Constitution check for running, or is this a Constitution check because the mist is choking me? Because if it's the second one, the rules aren't that book.
It's a normal one.
Okay.
Your time isn't in sync with the rest of theirs, so spoiler, it's been longer for you than it has for them.
All right. Then yeah. 9 on my Constitution check.
In the meantime, our mysterious stranger is making his escape. His escape. Though from perhaps less intimidating captors. Depends on if they find you.
Well, one of them cut me already, so I'd say they're relatively intimidating.
You are running, right? Or rather, no, you rolled.
Yeah,
You're trying to sneak.
I got a 15. So I don't know if
You're trying to sneak as fast as you can. There's a point where you have to hide because you hear them coming up on you, the others. And they don't find you, but as you're like behind a tree, they start to spread out. One of them saying, "Come now, don't hide. It's very dangerous out here.
They all say the same.
Safety in numbers." The other one says, "Yes. You should come out. I'm sure as long as you apologize. The other won't hold a grudge."
You attack me first. I don't think they're
Yeah. I'm gonna try to keep moving if I can. If I don't think there's any way for me to avoid being seen, I'm just gonna book it. I'm gonna take a dash action and move as far as I can.
It's gonna be a check. They're looking for you.
Okay.
You're going to either have to test your stealth against them looking for you, or make a break for it, like you said.
Alright.
what is it? So where'd you find?
Says where something's 107.
Are you stealthing or are you dashing?
It depends. Do I think
107.
I'll be spotted?
Basic rules.
You
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know.
You
That's
won't
not
be
surprising.
spotted if you successfully stealth, but you will be if you don't.
I will use thaumaturgy as quietly as I can and make it sound like the cry of a raven happens 30 feet to one side of me, and I'm going to try to sneak the opposite direction of the sound.
Okay. I will give you advantage on this stealth check out.
Okay. Well, advantage is not much. 13, unfortunately. So, yeah.
You produce the cry of a raven. They are temporarily distracted, but as you try to move, you snap an air twig, and the one of them who's closest to your location actually like turns and spots you. There you are. No running now.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm gonna start booking it. I'm gonna not book
No,
it.
now it is initiative.
Okay.
Just go.
Yeah. I just don't trust these guys. I don't know where they're taking me.
What did you get?
13.
Siguror and Ismark are able to run in the direction of and make it to the horses. We're still waiting for them. However, it is with enemies hot on their heels. Their enemies are not mounted on horseback, and so unless you are oddly charitable to your foes, you're both able to get away, though it is narrow.
We're gonna try
There are
and
plenty of hours through the forest that are pretty touch and go.
Oh yeah. If we just keep going full charge and just keep the horses going full speed, we should outrun the hope. And we didn't happen to see crack or anything on the path.
By the time that Crack has found the hiding place, a suspiciously green, glowing beehive He hears like some sounds coming from the base of the tree, but like it goes quiet. A little after, like you hear it. How do you go about getting the gem?
So it's in the beehive?
Yes.
That's not a plan.
Apparently that's one of the only other rules that apply to it right now. It's like it's all loops up there. Demonstration.
And the beehive is above, right? So the falls that hits me.
No, it's to the side of you. Like it's on a branch.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. I'm gonna key last.
Okay.
I'm gonna key last again. No. Actually, the first one got 10, the second one got 13.
I'll say the first one, like you kind of catch the side of it and fry the side of it. It sways, and then the second one, like you're able to hit it properly and get it to fall.
So,
And by the time you climb back down, you see like the dead remains of, the scattered remains of what appears to be a scarecrow. There's straw and like cloth hanging around.
Weird.
Both of the servants look emboldened.
Cool.
With the gem in hand.
I'll give him a thumbs up.
Give him a thumbs up. With the gem in hand, where do you go?
I'll go back to buying place. Back that direction.
Okay.
Because I figure that's where she got.
so it turns out I'm moving at a fast pace, which means I move twice as fast. Gives me penalty to my perception score, although I'm blind, so arguably that doesn't really matter at this point. I don't make a check until 8 hours has passed, as I continue to run past that 8 hours. So I don't know if that is how long has passed, or if the mist trying to choke me to death would kick in before that. Because I don't make a constitution check for
Well,
going
I'll say
fast.
go ahead and make a normal exhaustion check right now.
Okay. Do you want me to keep that same one?
Actually, yeah, sure.
Then I failed it, so I have level of exhaustion.
Okay. It begins to catch up to Sasha's body, beginning to feel heavy.
Alright.
And yet, it cannot stop.
I'm gonna have to stop punching.
Over with our mysterious stranger. He's facing a threat. 3 threats, actually.
Okay.
One of which goes first. Moves up. Short sword drawn. You'll pay for not respecting our hospitality. However, when he swings up, he misses.
Okay.
It is now your turn.
Well, this is buckle in my face. How close are the rest of them?
There's another one of them that's like 10 feet away, and the third is like 15. And then he's 15 feet.
Then I am going to, as a bonus action, cast Misty Step to get 30 feet away. And then I'm going to take my action to dash and just run 60 feet away from that, so I should be 90 feet away from the closest one.
Very well. channeling your own unique magics, you get a lead and then run away. You hear them call out, "Oh, come on! Hey, what do you think you're doing?" But it's distant as you run and don't look back. The group, save for Grayla, is able to make their respective escapes unharmed, sort of. Where exactly they find one another again, we will tackle after the break. And we return. First, some housekeeping. So, the exhaustion checks are made every 8 hours.
After the first 8 hours, it's made every some amount of hours.
I think it's every hour.
I'm looking it up. Yeah, for every hour after I make another one.
Thinking about the best way to do this, because
So
that's a lot of hours.
It was 3 days away, traveling at a normal pace.
Yeah.
I ran for 8 hours at a fast pace, which is 50% extra. So basically, I went 12 hours towards where I had to go. And it was 3 days, but that's 3 days assuming a normal 8-hour rest. So 16 hours. So 16 times 3, that's fucking 32, 48. That's 48 hours, and I've gone 12 hours. So
Normal pace with stops in the middle. So if you're going, double speed, no rests.
So basically, I'm gonna basically keep going until I get a level of exhaustion. So do you just want me to just keep rolling until I fail, and you'll tell me how many hours I get to keep going?
Sure, but I'm not quite sure why you would stop once you get a level of exhaustion.
Because once I get a level of exhaustion, I'll start. My character's actually going to stop and take a rest.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise, it's just going to get worse and stack up. And the second level of exhaustion is that your movement speed is half, and that's way counterproductive to what I'm actually trying to accomplish.
And long rests only get rid of one level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I won't do it for the whole thing. Like if you're stopping when you get exhausted to rest, then that makes it a little different. I thought you were just running no matter what.
The next hour. So I've gone 10 hours without stopping, and then at that point I will pull up for an 8-hour long rest.
Oh. You're long resting too.
That's how you get rid of a lot
That's
of
how you get
exhaustion.
rid of exhaustion, David.
Well, I had it in my head you were doing a dramatic run until you couldn't run anymore.
If I do that, I'm gonna die. Also, the second level of exhaustion cuts my movement speed in half, so it's actually counterproductive to keep running. I know it's dramatic and cool, but it's literally a stupid idea, and my character's supposed to be the most intelligent man in Barovia, so it doesn't make any sense for me to do so. I know. I wish I could run there too.
Could make an argument scaring us weeks. Okay.
Where?
If defeating
Or
Windsplitter
you.
would have leveled up, I could summon a Phantom Horse and it can take me to my stuff.
Fastest path to the Wizard of Wines on horseback.
Okay.
I'm not gonna run the horses to death, but
And you already said that you were headed back to the vineyard,
Oh.
yeah?
Something to keep in mind for me though, since I'm running through the mist, I'm running around the woods. The woods would slow their travel. It wouldn't slow mine. So keep that in mind. That I'm gonna get that will,
You're still stopping and resting though.
well, they're gonna stop and rest too unless they want to make con checks.
Maybe.
And again, I get to ignore the difficult terrain. They don't.
I don't.
Well, okay, you do because you're a fucking
You are
cheater.
essentially
Punk ranger
is it really
bitch.
cheating
But-
if it's in the fucking book?
Whatever. So, the very least, they'll be slowed down. Fucking Siguror and Ismark will be slowed down. He cheats because he's a ranger, but I get to ignore difficult terrain by just not being in it.
One way or another, the group, one by one, is able to return to the vineyard. Save for two exceptions. Before you and Ismark reach the vineyard proper, you part ways. He tells you, I'm going after my sister.
Fucking
We all
Before it's
are.
too late.
We all are.
No, you're not. Ever since you've come to this land, you've done nothing but boss me around and put her in dangerous situations. You and that wizard. And now look. She's gone.
What would you?
I'm tired of trusting you.
We
I'm going
want-
to do things my way.
What would you have done? Different than us. Because we have only done everything you have asked us to do. You charged us.
I didn't ask you to take her along. It was the suggestion that you keep her. I would have just as soon stayed at that temple.
You spoke of going to the lackey. For us all to go to the lackey.
And the temple was safe.
It would be the safest place. Place where nothing can go wrong. Safest place in Barovia. And look what happened.
I was wrong about the city, but I wasn't wrong about the temple. Isn't it guarded by some holy presence? By the Morning Lord? Would it have not been safe at least?
Not by the Morning Lord. By something else. Something we do not know. Some strange magic.
Out of character, it was the Morning Lord.
I thought people
You
were
got back
claiming it was the
bones.
Morning Lord.
You
but
got
it was
back
something
bones of a
else.
saint that was of the Morning Lord.
Oh, okay.
Now you could bring up that Lady Watcher was a Strahd cultist. You know.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah. True. The church could have protected her from servants of Strahd that were invading the town, the vampires. But what about the burgomaster, the baron of the lackey?
I don't think he would have been a problem if you hadn't agitated him clearly.
And the watchers?
He seemed to handle them well enough. He was still in charge of the town. You don't know what it's like leading people, worrying about people outside yourselves.
You assume that. You assume I have never been in charge of a group. Ever.
Well, have you?
Yes. In home, everyone at some point is charged with leading a group, a hunt. Everyone must care for everyone. You're only as strong as your weakest. Up to this point, what do you believe you could have done by yourself? How effective have you been so far in any of the combats we have been up until recently? Mediocre. Up until the lackey, you have hit one creature. Every other one you have gotten hit and have almost gone down.
Well,
If
your combat prowess certainly didn't make a difference. So maybe it's not about that. Maybe I'm through with this. He turns his horse.
We are stronger together. Know that if you go now, you will be going by yourself, instead of with others that are willing to face the monster.
Heedless of your attempts, he rides off.
I can't rip him from his horse, fucking hog tie and take him hostage, but...
Well, you could. But the question is, will you? Will you make the GM a liar and say no exception? Actually, no exception. He got there.
Fucking do it. Just.
He only has like 11 HP right now.
We haven't rested.
Well, some time passes between this moment. Like, you're close to the vineyard when this happens.
So you will do nothing with the vineyard? with the charging druids to attack them?
He's not listening. When he turns his horse, he doesn't like stop. It's like he turns and he's leaving.
Not even his
You're
horse.
just like him. Selfish.
You don't see his
Did he
face.
take one of our fucking horses?
He did.
To be fair, I think one of them were...
No, one of them
No.
was not. One of them was Irina's, which is not his fucking horse. One of
Wouldn't
them.
we also be down a horse? Because one of them was Izix?
So,
Grayla died, that horse didn't die. Although
You
that
have-
I thought it was
would not
hostile.
be charmed anymore.
no, it won't
You,
be charmed.
you have all the horses that were tied up at the entrance with the exception of Ismark. The horse that Ismark is on right now.
He stole one of our horses. Wow, he's less than useless.
The second exception is that someone doesn't return there, but makes it there. There's a point where you, a mysterious stranger, are running and lost in the wood when discovered by someone much less flamboyantly dressed, but much more trustworthy. They're quite sympathetic to your plight, and instead of trying to take you somewhere, very carefully try to ask where it is that you are trying to go and if you need help.
I definitely need help because I don't know where I am, and I'm not so much trying to go anywhere at the moment as much as I'm trying to get somewhere safe. That has.
You are offered a bed if you wish it, and if you would follow. This young man in a feathery cloak.
Okay.
He doesn't beckon you or anything, but he offers and then he turns. Which is ultimately how you find yourself to a better place, at least for the moment. It is a small miracle that while you are occasionally discovered on your path by things, they're not things that mess with you. If only slightly. And
Well, I
while
do
it
still
is
have
quite
so
and
depending on what finds me, it'll ignore me.
that is even more helpful. There are a few times where you are definitely not in danger. There are a few times where you could be, but are not. And while it is very difficult, you manage to make it to the vineyard.
Okay.
You do your best to hide and run and hide and run. Where'd you stash the gem, by the way?
He took it with him.
Yeah, so,
But I mean, on you. I didn't think you were getting rid of it.
you guys are on the waste around here.
Okay, just curious. And your ability at hiding serves you well. And you were able to make it to the vineyard without too much difficulty. There are a couple small scrapes, but it turns out to be nothing that you can't handle. It is a fractured and weary group, plus a stranger, that find themselves in the dining room / living quarters of the vineyard sometime later. You are a mysterious stranger. Find yourself sharing. You're not immediately in the middle of the mall. You're in a seat that's a little ways away, but there are other people here. Some kind of robed man, and if you've seen a Kenku before, a Kenku, and if you've seen a Minotaur before, a Minotaur. But
I probably know what a Minotaur is, but I haven't seen one. But I probably have seen a Kenku maybe. And he's just a guy in robes. So.
How much money do you have? Just,
Wait.
I'm gonna turn to the dude, Erwin or whatever, or someone, the other guy, I forget.
Head of the household.
You are capable of finding him if you need to, but I will say when you initially got here, after like catching your breath, you were able to. You did have a moment before this discussion moment to, like, sufficiently tell
Davian,
them.
I think. Okay.
Yeah, I had that name down too.
So I will. Well, have told Davian that we have failed.
Montreal.
Our enemy approaches.
And at the time, he thought this was quite grave and was concerned about you, but also started doing what he could.
They didn't happen to get that stuff I wanted, did they? It's been 5 days.
When you ask, you are told that they haven't returned yet, but it shouldn't be too much longer.
Of course. Okay. When the others return,
You were told maybe it shouldn't be longer than like 2 days, and then this point where you're all meeting is like 2 days later. So, sometime on the day that you're currently on, they should return.
okay, well. Clack. Did you get the gem?
I handed over the demon, because that's his.
Okay.
You pull it out. You've been left alone for like the moment, but there will be a point where like you have it on the table, and somebody will notice it at a suitable point. Right now, they're kind of doing some other stuff around the house.
I will say to these two, and unless someone mentions that Ismark is not here, I guess Sasha probably won't know. But he's not really thinking about that. And he's going to say, well, even if Winter Splinter has been stopped, they might still be headed this way. We should prepare to defend the vineyard, or all the work we put in will be for naught.
There is many. More than we originally thought.
It does not matter. They're on their way regardless.
I'm not in the room when they're doing this, am I?
Yeah, you are.
Oh.
You're at the table. You're just not like. You're like at the other end of the table. You're like, oh, other people. And now they're talking like they're on their way.
We'll have to prepare
Yeah.
accordingly.
Defend the vineyard? I was told this place was safe.
Oh, it is not safe. There is a horde of druids and barbarians come to burn it, to raise this land to the ground.
Sorry, Siguror.
Really?
Yes, really. I would suggest you leave before it happens. We might not be able to stop them.
Unless you think you might like to stay and help. The more numbers we have, the more likely we could save a bigger part of the vineyard. I doubt all of the family can fight. No, I don't know if any of the family is sitting with us or if they're all okay. Especially the little ones.
Siguror, when you saw them head towards the woods, did they have lights with them? Or was it
None
just...
that I saw. It was just the druids and barbarians.
My staff's still worthless.
The effigy was gone. So, if that's what you're doing,
Yeah. What horse was taken? I'm out of character right now. The horse was taken. Is what took.
Yeah,
Yeah, whichever horse that Ismark had been riding.
Well, he's asking you which horse is my
probably the one Irina rode all the time.
I don't know. Like, I thought all the horses were the same type of horse, except for...
No, there was one that was
Maybe.
Isaac's horse, and then
I probably
there
would
was
have been
one,
riding that to the vineyard.
Isaac's horse was a black stallion, and Irina's horse was one of the,
Brown
both
mare.
Irina's and both of the other two horses we got from the fucking Vishtani.
Yeah.
What was the last one? The
So he's
fourth one?
probably riding one of those.
Okay. Whatever.
Those are the horses we actually bought.
If you're wondering if he took your horse, like the answer's no, because
Yeah.
Crack.
By the way, did I see him? Right? I saw him with the horses, or did I not?
no. You saw Siguror come in by himself.
Alright.
With the horses.
I'll ask where's this one.
He left.
Left.
He blames us and believes his sister is already dead.
And she very well may be already dead. But that is no point to rush in foolishly and die a fool's death.
I warned him as best as I could.
That does not matter. He does not listen to reason.
No. He is a man in grieving without death.
He is a fool and will die like one. Crack. We need to know where the enemy is. Can you find them before they find us?
We can try.
Thank you. And
I believe I can talk to the family and find who is the best gatherer and try to gather materials to help fortify the farm.
they're probably not that far behind us. But if you think you can set up other
traps or fortifications.
I'm gonna get up and go find the family and be like, they're talking like there's an army coming to burn your farm down. Do you know about this?
You're able to find like one of the young men who turns and says, yes. Unfortunately, it was before you got here. One of them had come back. They had helped us before, and one of them came back and warned us that some people are on the way. I apologize if perhaps this place was not as safe as I once had promised you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Is there a place around here that is safe, or if this is it for a ways around?
You travel dark lands, my friend. No place is truly safe. There is a town some ways from here, but the roads will likely be dangerous if there are people coming our way. I would suggest staying here, at least for now.
I guess I don't have much choice. Well, thank you for your hospitality. Anyway, even if our knowing each other may be short.
Well, I wouldn't count us out quite yet. Once the fighting starts, do not feel obligated. Upstairs you may be able to find a place that is safe.
I'll think about it.
While we're there, are the ravens and stuff basically still around the perimeter of the houses? The property, I suppose?
You spotted some ravens here and there.
Okay. Alright. Hopefully that wasn't temporary protection. Yeah, I mean, unless there's more things that we can get together for to make plans of, or things that we each individually need to do. I could try talking to the family, see who's the best gatherer, and try rapidly gathering supplies to fortify or basically make funnels.
Supplies like what?
Lots of wood, lots of rope, and probably gonna need to dig some pretty big pits.
I think you can probably scrounge up some stuff.
We shouldn't move to defend the farm. We should cut them off before they get here. If we fight here, the collateral damage could do the job anyway. We should find a place, maybe at the edge of the trees, where we can ambush them before they even reach the location. Maybe set up some trees to fall.
I believe I saw a few axes around.
I'm not in the room with him, so obviously out of character, but I think he's probably right. It's smarter to...
Yeah, no, when he brings that up, it's like, yes. I'm used to needing to defend the whole homestead in a moment.
They're going to want to destroy this place, not necessarily kill us. Although I'm sure they will be overjoyed if that happens to happen. I'm gathering things. I will join you shortly. And yeah, basically, I really want to know how far away they are. So if Kraken head out as soon as possible to scout the enemy's position, that'd be really helpful because that'll tell me when I need to start casting my spells.
And I can start working with some of the people still left around and basically start making those quick fall trees and stuff like that. Try setting stuff up for it.
That you can. There's a point where the
Do you have a
gem.
pen? An ink pen? None of them do?
In
Oh.
character.
Unless you're asking out of character.
I was using my ink
One of them says, one can be found.
Thank you.
There is a point where the gem is returned, and they are overjoyed that you were able to do so. Claiming that with the raging storm, they feared the worst, and while it obviously didn't go well, they're still quite grateful. You were able to scout, but you are not the only one. For when you get back, another couple of them also have information that they collaborate with yours, or rather, corroborate, like just on a wider form. There's a bunch of scattered clumps of druids and barbarians roaming the forests and, like, lazily headed in this direction. Should have about a day. Or rather, this time tomorrow, if they are, like, if their intent is to attack, they will be.
So we have a full day. Makes sense. Okay, well, when he comes back and tells us this, I will say, well, that is the time we have.
What do you have for weapons around the house or around the property?
Not much, I'm afraid. Why?
Then I was going to pull out the javelins and hand each of them that are at least capable with them a javelin. Everyone should be prepared.
Oh, those of us who can will. We have for ourselves. It is early evening when more of them return with their wagon, or rather an empty wagon now.
It's either a good sign or an awful sign.
They get off, and you overhear them asking, because they notice like extra horses like on the way in, and they're told there are people coming this way, more druids. The others returned with one of the gems, though they are a little worse for wear. That is quite a shame. So I take it, when I saw one of them on the road who gave me the cold shoulder, they did say that one of them has parted from their ways. I believe they've lost another two, though one still yet lives. It's quite unfortunate. You've done so much for us. Well, perhaps we'll have our chance to repay them yet. You're in return greeted. You've already specified what you're doing. You already did something. Is there an additional thing that you want to do to prepare?
I don't know if I can think of other than I like to find a good hiding spot. So when they show up, I can attack them. A good ammunition spot, I should say.
Alright, what about you?
I guess I will help with your ambush. It is better than staying here and hiding, waiting for death. So, in what ways do you need help at the moment?
That depends what you can do.
Formerly I was a thief, but I don't see that being much use in this regard. And I'm being honest with you because we're in danger, otherwise I would have taken it. But,
Unless you can steal the weapons from them before they get here.
I don't think that's possible. And, I have a little bit of magics at my disposal, but, it is typically in the more immediate nature. They're not preparatory for the most part.
Then it might be more prevalent for those that can or should to try and meet the forces head on, and any of them that slip past, we should have a defense set up closer to the vineyard. To the
Once we learn to the
extractors.
place where we spring the trap, we'll then attack them after.
The wandering groups and stuff, are they like, say this is the vineyard, are the groups like all spread around, like coming in, or are they all coming in from one direction?
They're coming in from one direction, but they're kind of like a loose, curved line. But it's still from one direction.
Okay. But it's like this rolling in, I'm guessing?
Slightly curved version, but yeah.
Okay.
It is possible that you won't be able to catch them all, depending on how you attempt to funnel them.
We would definitely have to try to set up at least part of the dining room or living room or something, where it's like basically a war room.
You have more earth, can you dig like a huge trench in like a matter of seconds?
That's true. I'm going to go to work for the rest of the day once my stuff has been prepared. Basically digging a massive trench so that they only have one way they can go. If we can follow them into the one point, then we can trigger the trap there. Oh,
A
actually,
massive trench.
so basically, once he tells us the way they're walking, so they're walking basically, how wide is their force? If I was looking at it from straight on, is it like 100 feet?
A little shallower than that. I'm gonna say 70.
70? So I will dig out a 200-foot trench that basically leads into like a 20 to 30 foot actual space. And basically I can move 5 feet of dirt at a time, but because I have all day, if I just keep casting it over and over, because it's a cantrip, I can dig out huge amounts of earth.
Tastes like nothing.
So I build huge, massive trenches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I also want to set up a trap. I want to, once I'm down in the trench, I'm going to start pulling out dirt from underneath the part they would walk on, so that it's sturdy enough that like 3 or 4 people can step on it, but once like 5 or 6 people get on it, it'll collapse down into the trench. Can I maybe roll an intelligence check to try to figure out the math behind what I need to do that?
I don't see why not.
Okay, it's a new day, so I have luckies and portents again, so I'm gonna roll my portents.
So it'd be for some extra damage.
Damage, and they fall into the trench. So they have to climb out before they can get further into...
I thought they were already going to be in the trench.
No, this is funneling them to a point where they think it's safe to walk, and then they fall into the trench, and then we'll battle them down in the trench. Because that way they can't get to the thing. At least that's my intention.
Should also probably make it a bit wide. so they can't just like jump it.
I don't know if it'd be wide at the top. Below it could get narrow. If it's wide all the way to the bottom, then they can like get past you. Say you're in between Sasha and then they could get past you if it's like.
He's saying
two
it should be
spaces
wide
wide.
at the top but thin at the bottom.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
you get above them. Which I will do upon this being suggested. And then, okay, so normal. Maybe I should. No, I'm just going to use one of my portents to get a 19 on my intelligence check.
Okay.
Because this is the day before, so I'll get them back by tomorrow.
You get a solid beat on it.
So yeah, I basically dig out so there's a trap that when they try to walk over, and again, there's like 300 feet of trench, so unless they want to take a really fucking roundabout path, they're going to be forced to walk over this. At least that's my intention. So I'll do that, and then at the end of the day, does my charcoal and stuff get here?
Once they returned, like mid-evening, after like consorting, not out of earshot because you overheard them, but consorting with the others, there was then a moment where they came in and were sympathetic and also handed you what you asked for.
Okay, cool.
Would any of your members happen to know their way around woodcarvers? Like woodcarvers tools.
Can I get a bunch of
Because
spikes?
One or two.
yeah,
Um,
we're digging a trench. If we can get some work going to get spikes to line the bottom, it would probably help in thinning their numbers.
Perhaps.
I would help, but I wouldn't be a whole lot of help because barbarians don't get to start with any tool proficiencies.
so I ritual cast Find Familiar and bring Sahar back into existence.
I was wondering if it would be the same or another.
Yeah, it's still Sahar. Sahar's a celestial, so I can just resummon it.
We need to get him like a little armored vest.
Sahara's happy to be
That's
back.
possible.
Just an armored owl vest.
That would be weird.
It's like some fucking red wall shit. Little chain vest.
Preparations.
Although I mean, compared to most of the thing, red wall and owl would be huge. Not Sahar, but like a normal owl is basically a dragon to them.
One of the main characters is like a badger, right? Or a honey badger, right?
No.
Most of
idea.
them are rats.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't
Rats
read it.
versus snakes.
I just know they're animals.
Preparations are made. If I could get like a visual,
Okay, so
because I believe I understand,
But
but
just place. Where would you like the vineyard, I guess, to be stationed?
so no,
I'm under the
it's
impression
going
that you're fighting away from the vineyard.
So
I know
the
that
vineyard.
you want to fortify the vineyard just in case, which you could have devoted some time to if you wanted before
So
this happens.
this is the
it's
vineyard,
like-
like back here, like buildings and stuff. So this is a vineyard, and then like this will be like how far is the tree line from the vineyard? 100 feet, 200 feet.
I don't think that far away.
Won't they need room for their fields to grow?
Well, they do, but you're at like the house.
They also probably have a separate
Yeah.
area.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, we'll see. I'll look at the map.
People with these tools can make traps. That's partially what I look at.
They also help with traps, right? Like, say we want like half-cut trees, so then they can be easily knocked over.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna get to that once we did the thing.
Well, I'm just wondering if you need thieves' tool proficiencies to know how to do that.
Well, even if we do, he has these skills proficiency, so we're fine.
I have them as well. From my background.
We do it twice as effective.
thought
I mean, it
that
doesn't
would be-
really matter how far away it is. because I was just asking for reference. So basically, this is the tree line up
Nah,
here, right?
I'm not going to continue searching for it. I'm going to say,
So, like, this is the tree line.
I'm going to take a guess at it. Sure.
So basically, what we're gonna do is this is like 150 feet of trench, right?
Open.
Fucking far, and this is similarly like 150 feet of trench. It's far, and then there is a part right here. Can I get a different? Oh, I have the wrong gun. So
Yes, you can.
this part looks normal. But it's actually like 30 feet down, completely dug out. It's like a little dirt bridge that'll collapse once like 5 or 6 people are on it, or maybe not even that much. Just a significant amount of people are on it, dumping them into the trench. And then Siguror, with the help of Crack and his thieves' tool proficiency, are going to like mostly cut a bunch of trees, and then maybe set up some sort of like spike chain or something so that we can trigger it to finish cutting the trees and causing them all to fall in. Before the battle starts, I'm going to take my 9 flasks of oil and pour them on a bunch of the trees so that after the trees fall in, we can light them on fire with a fire spell of some kind, or some sort, or like someone with a flaming arrow. And there'll be a bunch of flaming trees will be on top of them, and then we go down and beat the shit out of them after that. Or actually, no, we'll light it up with the dragon's breath.
But that would only be the ones in the pit.
To the pit?
Because the ones that are walking in, not
Aren't the
everybody's
flaming
going to
trees
fall in.
on the pit?
So once they fall into the pit,
Mm-hmm.
these ones will fall on top of them with the trees and then be flaming. And then these guys will be on the other side. And the barbarians don't have ranged weapons, so we can just pick them off. Because they'll have a huge moat they'll have a huge fiery moat they have to go through to get to us.
I feel like you got this idea from something that you made previously.
What if they go through these? What if they go through these though?
These are just normal. These are like 100-foot fall holes. They can try to go through that way if they can fly.
Oh.
These, yeah.
When you said 100, I thought you meant like length. I was like, oh, okay.
So they're 150 feet long and they're like at least 50 feet down. Technically, if I want to spend a bunch of time, and yeah, they're like 20 feet wide, so they're too far to jump. They're going to be huge and impassable. And I know that sounds like it take a really, really long time, but again, I can move 5 feet of dirt per turn, and I have a whole day. So as long as I'm willing to spend like 6 or 7 hours, I can move huge amounts of dirt. Like just literally fucking astronomical amounts of dirt.
We can actually just take all of that and just...
You can probably move more dirt in 6 seconds than like the thing with the big scoop.
Yeah.
I don't need to be convinced of that. It's
Okay.
just right now.
Thanks, Mulder.
Right now, I'm not even sure if I should actually like run a combat.
Well, it depends. Well, that is a question, David.
See how many fall in, how many...
I mean, I'm gonna get the checks for the trees because that, that could fuck up.
Right.
But like, this is me sitting here stroking my chin, going, "Well, do they really have any way? Like, go ahead and make rolls for like the almost cut tree."
We should also
trap
make
stuff.
a plan for, like, say the ones coming at the ends of it, if they decide to go, hole! Swoop.
Then we just shoot them with projectiles. By the time they get around and get to us, they'll be dead.
So we're not going to be over here.
No, we're going to be here, and we can see 150 feet that way. If we see them starting to move, we'll shoot them. Basically, any of them that don't fall into the fiery pit of death are going to get projectiled way before they can reach us, unless any of them have any ability to fly or teleport. Yeah. Which is why David's like, I'm not even sure this is going to be a combat, because how would they even fight back against that? Which is fair. When you don't have ranged weapons, shit like this is exactly what shit you can't be, because you're like, what do? I have a sword and I can't get into melee. And he wants you both to make checks for what kind of checks for that.
Well, you're doing it to like make traps, so like.
So it'd be thieves' tools.
So,
Okay. So
since I'm helping him, just give him advantage on his...
You can assist.
Yeah.
Actually, both of you go ahead, because some of the other sons and some other people who like appear also help out.
Are they members of the family, or are they like people that
When
like
asked,
the
they
family?
say something like that.
Oh.
They help out.
Wait, so do we both roll advantages?
Yeah,
Both roll?
they're
you're
well
both getting
raised.
assistance.
right there.
Maybe.
I got 21.
Yeah. 22 if since I had +7, depending on what stat this is.
Dexterity.
And
So you add +8. Or no, 7. Sorry, you're right. You have +7.
Alright, 22.
Okay. And I didn't hear what.
21. I got one less.
One.
Not because we've rolled the same thing. My modifier is just one less than his.
You both put
You
your
didn't guidance
knowledge.
yourself?
I forgot completely about guidance again.
You have 3 characters
Oh my
with
God.
guidance. And you never remember it even. It is
Okay,
literally
23.
the best cantrip in the game, and you never remember.
23, okay.
But it goes away after you use it once. Can it really be that good?
Yes, it can be that good. Shut up, Ed.
See me at Saturday game. I use it on everything. Everything.
You put your talents to work for a good cause. And effectively set up the trees to fall at just the right moment.
Fuck these guys. They're gonna burn in death.
Approximately when they should. Not in like formation, but like pods.
So as they're getting up, I
begin.
should know I do my thing where I cast 3 sets of tiny servants. I animate the whistle that Grayla got me. His name is Whistler. I animate the dagger that I used to kill that one guy. Its name is Blade. I'm very excited about the new movie, can you tell? I will animate the knife that I got in my starting pack, and he will be known as Great Guy in honor of Knife Guy's untimely demise. I will animate my tinderbox, and he will be Sparky. I will animate my chest, and that will be Mimi. I will animate the pen they gave me, and that is Hancock. I will animate the bag of sand that I started the game with, and he is Sandman. And then I'm going to animate 2 wooden stakes, and they will be known as Simon and Richter, respectively.
Okay. They are loose pods,
Because all my old ones are lost
Oh.
or destroyed.
filthy, mud-covered barbarians and druids with twisted wooden creatures, blights sprinkled here and there. Headed in the same direction, though not in any soldier-like fashion. They come, predictably so, to the wide trench. There are some that start drifting around the fringes, and there are others that simply move in and directly forwards. In their single-minded advance, they don't appear to be looking for traps or trickery,
Good.
which is likely why the trees are able to work as well as they are.
Okay. So once they've fallen in and the trees have landed on them, if any of them were alive, I will bonus action cast Dragon's Breath, Fire, and then Sahar is going to, and then all the oil. So I'll mark off. I used 9 things of oil, so hopefully the trees light up.
That's like 9 gallons, right? It's like a fuck ton.
9 pints.
Oh.
But over like certain trees, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you this as a fireman, but trees burn pretty good.
They just take a little bit to start up.
Yeah, 9 pints of oil and magic fire, I think, is more than enough.
Should be.
The first pod, consisting of 3 gangly men and 2 gangly robed men, do fall, as predicted, are partially crushed. There's movement beneath the trees when they are drenched and then summarily lit on further fire and are eventually stilled. The others begin sorting their way over in what would be an intimidating number had you not had time and ingenuity on your side. There are some small groups that you do encounter and deal with from like the other sides, but similar to how you had a bunch of time when that big mass of blights was coming at you when you first got here, but more because they were not as far away as these ones are. You have enough time to like launch attacks in advance and run whatever you need to. While they While they do not falter in their pursuit and are stone-facedly advancing, there does come a point where you've run through enough of them that those that were trying to navigate the difficulties do decide to retreat, but not before quite a few of them are killed. Or simply knocked unconscious if any of you desire not to kill.
We'd have to be in melee. Well, that we'd have to be in melee. We were all shooting or throwing shit from across the gorge.
I suppose that is true.
Yeah.
It definitely takes a
Technically
while.
by the rules, but
So,
as cool as it would be to be like, all right, so I take my arrow and I shoot him in the shoulder really hard.
The conflict starts.
I just take him out both knees
Yeah.
and pin his hands to the floor.
since they're not within 30 feet, I can't do key blast, so I'm using crossbow bolts, and I was just wondering how many would you say I use? Because I got I have like 53, I think.
Over the course of it, I'll say 32.
32.
It was 32. I actually have 40 bolts from when we had that heavy crossbow that I sold. So instead of subtracting 32, just add 8.
To recover.
It's an easier way to do it. Because I'll just give you my 40
Because if
bolts.
I just have javelins and hand axes, well, javelins can break.
I don't know.
I don't know why, but they're still on my sheet, even though.
Does anybody remember the roll to try and recover thrown things?
50%
50% chance I'm breaking.
Yeah, but that's for ammunition. I don't think javelins.
Oh yeah,
work.
javelins, you can just go and get them.
Oh, okay. Same thing with darts.
I think so.
Okay. So there's metal, like lawn darts, but
The,
they're more heavy duty.
the conflict starts early afternoon, and by the time that the sun has fully set and night is beginning to come on, it is not, at least at this time, with a sense of fear and dread, but more in a sense of exhaustion, as the slow but victorious battle comes to an end as well. There are multiple points where other people who had freshly arrived when you hadn't noticed also help you, and it seems that the local birds also take a bit of a hand, pecking and scratching at blights here and there.
Nice.
Though
Fuck
you,
these guys.
though you could have potentially also leveraged the staff against them if they had gotten in close enough.
The staff? Were any of them blights? I thought they were just druids. And
I said there were like some blights
Some.
speckled. When the combat started, like you saw that there were like
unless
blights
they were
speckled.
overrunning us, I was gonna save it.
Then yeah,
I'll save it for a point where we're.
if you had wanted to, you could have, but things went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, unless any of them got in the melee with me, I wouldn't bother. And I don't think they did. So.
One of the new arrivals says, well, I think this might be the first battlefield victory this land has seen in quite some time. Not to oversell the importance of the vineyard.
Perhaps so. Still, the devil is taking too much. Much as I would like to stay and celebrate, I believe we have work that must be done. Will your crops continue? Will your crops not grow until your other gem is recovered?
Oh, and he looks back because you're talking to one of the new arrivals,
Oh,
and it's
sorry.
like he says, "I believe that some will grow."
Then will you allow us time to do something before we return to deal with Nasaga?
Oh, if you made a deal with them, I would speak with them.
We should probably.
But
go
as
back and
generous
talk to them.
as much as you have helped them, I cannot imagine them saying no to whatever it is you request.
Thank you. And I'm gonna head inside to find Alien.
He is findable. What are the rest of you doing, other than being sweaty and tired?
Well, I will probably clean myself.
I just cast like 100 Eldritch Blasts.
I was gonna say prestidigitation,
Sucks
and
because
I
I also
didn't.
partially forgot that I wanted to
That's
try
great
and take
design,
Great
so-
as holy symbol, like as we were passing
Keep
it.
you
like,
guys alive.
completely fucking spaced.
I don't know.
Well, when she gets back up as a vampire and tries to kill us, you can grab it
A
back.
lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was happening.
I'm also bummed
Yeah.
we didn't get her healing potion. That would have been nice too.
Yeah.
She also had like 1,000 gold on her.
What are you doing?
I hate you so much.
Bring it up for me.
If anything, like, are you doing anything special in the aftermath?
Other than looking for stragglers, making sure we didn't miss anybody, and I guess just checking up on all the non-combatants.
There are a few that are down and like not dead that you're able to ensure are standard battlefield stuff. There are a couple of guys that actually like spot what you're doing and like kind of go, oh, it's a good idea, and like also
Yes.
follow you. So you deal with that.
Sorry.
Is there anything special that you were doing in the aftermath?
No. Just maybe clean myself up a little bit.
Get out of here, bird. I was here first.
Makes sense.
That was a dick. So do I find out, man?
You were able to like you have a bit of a wait, but you're able to get in and wash up afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You search the house and you're able to find him, and he says, "You've really helped us very greatly."
Yes, well, thank you, but we have work that must be attended to, and unfortunately it is of the utmost urgency.
I heard.
The saga cannot wait until after we have made our detour. We will return to help you as soon as we are able.
I would not worry about it. You've already done so much for us. Should you choose to return and help us, we will always accept it.
Thank you.
I merely caution you to be careful.
Fortunately, much carefulness will help us when we are going. But I thank you for your words regardless. I'm going to turn to leave.
After I clean myself, I'm gonna go and find someone to try to learn what I can about this land and the situation. Because basically, I don't know anything about this place, right? So I don't know. I can't leave. I don't know any of that
You should
stuff.
ask Crack, and he should literally like mimic every NPC who's told us what's been going on this entire time. It's just a recording of it.
I
No,
was.
as a joke. I was joking.
Movie.
That'd be kind of funny, though.
He tried to go in the
Moody
room I
blues.
was in,
Activate.
so it's entirely possible.
Okay, we were just Moody Blues.
Well, you could have elected to ask one of the others who seems to know what's going on.
I'll ask whoever. I'll ask one of the others. One of the members of the family that took me in, since they seem hospitable. Also, my character's name is Arigorr.
Then your character receives a much more straightforward explanation, in that one of the women tells you that you have come to a very cursed land, ruled by a powerful vampire known as Strahd von Zarn. The mists, they prevent all from leaving, save for Vistana. People who are rumored to have helped Strahd from before he was the dark ruler of this land.
So I'm trapped here.
Yes. I'm sorry. The others that you helped, they're here as well. And I believe that they have a plan on how to escape. Though, like anything in this place,
We're
it
working
will
on
be
it!
risky. Unless you were fine with starting a new life here, perhaps you should talk to them.
I have things I have to do back where I came from. So
Many
I
do.
have to escape in one fashion or another.
They will probably tell you, but there is a town, Vallaki, that is not too far from here. I believe that it is the closest, and she describes like the direction that is.
Mm.
They've recently had some trouble there, but I hear it is smoothed over. Furthermore, there is a different town. It is slightly farther and in the other direction, but if you do not go with them and would like to take your chances there. And she remembers, but I do not.
Classic.
Shut up.
It's weird. There's like crows around. Crows.
As should you decide. I've heard that town is fairly well fortified. If you're looking simply for a safe place, it may serve you well.
I'll have to think on this. I'm going to approach the Kenku, basically, and talk to him about it. Because I know where he is. I don't know where that is right now.
There is a point where Crag has been able to wash up and is approached by someone. They haven't exchanged names yet.
I said it a second ago. It's Ari.
What?
It's his nickname.
Have you told Crag though?
I said I didn't know if I mentioned it, but I assume I would have mentioned it while we were working on the thing.
You can't sneak out of a proper character
Oh.
introduction.
Well, it should have happened before now then. Do you guys have a plan to escape? I was told by what's his family called again?
Mardikovs.
Marakovs?
Mardikovs.
I think it
Marakovs?
was Montreal.
I thought it was the Mardikovs.
But
Whatever
I'm
the-
going to trust you.
Whatever
I'm not
the
I might be wrong. I thought it was the Mardikovs.
whatever it is, Mardikovs. I was told by one of the members of the Mardikovs that you guys have a plan to escape this land. Now you're trapped here like me.
I'll say in character as the Vistani.
What's Vistani?
What to say now? The guy with the bird.
Guy with the green eyes, green ass specs.
The guy with the owl.
Yeah.
Alright. I'll leave because the Kangaroo's not me we're talking about. Come on to you. I'll go find the Vistani then. And I'll say, I was told you have a plan.
Go talk to the king. No. I'm joking.
If you said that, I would be so angry. In character, I'd be like,
But I was out of
I
character
know.
joking.
I was told you have a
Go
plan
talk to the man.
to escape from this place. I'm from out of here, outside of this land like you.
I could tell. I'm Sasha. The Kenku you spoke to earlier was Crack, and our large friend is Siguror. We had one more, but she is dead now. After we faced the Dark Lord in combat.
That's not good odds.
Those are not good odds, and I have worse news. The way we escape is by defeating the Dark Lord, and where we are going right now is to Vallaki, and then to his castle to rescue a woman he has kidnapped. He wants to turn her into one of his spawn, if he gets her. We are personally responsible for her. I will leave it at that. I will tell you though, the only way out is to face him.
have to make it out of here, and I suppose you'll have a better chance if I help you guys than if I wait for you to succeed.
Then if you wish to join us, you may do so.
I'm not happy about it. Just.
I don't think anyone is.
When do you plan to leave?
Right now.
Right
I'm
now.
gathering the others.
Like, we're out of character, it's night time, like we
Yeah.
beat the things you're planning to leave right now.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna. You're
What's
not even going in character. You're not even gonna wait for a day.
Every minute that we wait, the more likely it is that she is dead. We must go now. longer she is dead, the less likely we can bring her back.
I
That's
understand.
how resurrection works.
I understand.
We must go meet with our friend. He will help us.
Who's this friend?
His name is Rictavio. He is a half-elf like yourself.
Wait, isn't he not really though?
Yeah, but you
Oh,
don't know
okay.
that.
Alright, let's see.
I don't know if fucking Van Richten is cool with me going around and telling randos off the street, yeah, Van Richten's in Valaki. Like, it's probably not cool at all.
Okay.
He might be a little.
Somewhere he's just like, dude, what the fuck? Hey, I heard this guy was here.
Let me go get my things.
Oh, nice.
I'll go grab my things then. And I'll ask for the family for any food they can spare that I can take with me. Because I don't have much.
Valaki's a day away, right?
We'll see what we can do.
Alright.
Because I have 2 days of rations left. So if it's more than 2 days away, I need more food too.
Thought I said it was farther away.
But then I thought it
Corrected
was...
myself because like
Okay.
initially
How far is it away?
We have 5 left.
I'm gonna go ahead out on a limb and say 3.
3 days away? Okay, then I also need food as well. Because or wait, no, I have exactly 3 days of rations, so I'm good.
I have 1 to spare.
Do you have 3 days of rations left?
It says rations 9, so I mean,
Yeah, but we used 3 getting there and then 2 getting back, so you should have
yeah,
4
so-
left. We used 5. So,
How many? Do you have none?
I have some. I have what comes in the basic pack.
how much is that?
Like 7 or 5.
Alright, then we should have 5.
Yeah.
Well, then
I literally came here with like just what's on my back.
lucky. Well, you're caught off guard.
Okay.
Here we go.
He doesn't like it. That's why he's asking.
When lucky for you guys, you have your supplies because one of the women does say that we would do our best to help you, but we have not been able to resupply ourselves. And as you like are taking stock of your own stuff, it turns out like you.
Okay, yeah. So we do have enough, so let's go. We're gonna go under cover of night and try to get to Valaki.
Is this fine? Look after you're on the
How
cover.
far away is Castle Ravenloft? It's like 5 days from the Wizard's Plains, right?
You mean from Valaki?
Barovia is.
It's fine from Valaki. I was just. I mean, I guess I'll just add on the extra day. Because technically we're leaving for the Wizards of Plains, stopping at Valaki and going to Barovia. So how long would that take?
Barovia like 5 days away.
Or not Barovia, fucking.
Valaki.
Not Valaki. We're going from here to
Castle Ravenloft.
No.
Thought it was-
We're
I
going
think
from
the
here to
towns-
Valaki and then from Valaki to Castle Ravenloft. How long would that take?
Okay.
I'm gonna say like 7 days total.
7 days, okay. Well, that's how many supplies we're gonna have to. And then minus the day it takes us.
But
to
you'll
there,
get
we're
you'll
gonna
get
need
to
6
Valaki
days of
first,
that.
and
Yeah.
depending on if you have friends there, which you
Sure.
can barter with.
Hey, if the family did what we asked them to do, is like let them know that we helped get the wine back and shit like that. Yeah.
Well, if what are they gonna do? Keep us out? In the immortal words of Andrew Jackson, I'd like to see you try.
I thought you were gonna go
In
with
the immortal words of a guy referring to Andrew Jackson, I guess I should say, I'd like to see you try.
I thought you were going with oh my god, who was that guy? Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Reagan.
The group
Words of Reagan.
heads back to Valaki, and despite being under the cover of night, or despite leaving at night, travel goes relatively well. There are points where you do encounter a little bit of resistance, but find yourselves not only like having each other, but also aided by the mysterious flocks of ravens.
That's cool.
Okay,
So
cool.
they're helping
Or
out.
yes, ravens. There we go. Here end there.
That's dope.
I'm definitely feeling
I'd like to imagine like two or three of them are like blights who like walk up and one of them's like, wait, no, Steve. That guy's cool. Let's go. No, he's cool.
you and your staff.
Just because that idea is funny to me, the twin blights would be like, oh wait, never mind. No.
You come to Vallaki late morning of the third day of your travel, and you find the gates open, and as you come forwards, nobody says anything. There are guards who watch as you approach, but they don't call out to you or anything. When you enter the town, everything is seemingly fine. There are people walking here and there, but nobody's raging or anything. The place even seems to have been fixed up in your absence.
In 5 days? Damn.
Well, it wasn't like a big ass onslaught just went on in the town.
I got a riot.
It's a riot.
Yeah.
There are riots with low collateral damage.
The guards might have gotten everyone under control rather swiftly, or something else. Maybe.
Another power stepped in.
I don't know. We'll see how it went.
Yeah.
But anyway, go to the
First
storm.
time coming here, you see that there are these big walls that are sharpened at the top, and there's a plentiful amount of guards roaming the wall, and you see on the inside. It's overall a normal town. The people seem a little dour in that most of them avoid eye contact and kind of just pass by you guys without looking at you, sparing a glance. But other than that, it's no worse than being in a kind of shifty part of town.
But that's just the whole town now.
Okay. So.
But you said they're looking at them? Glance at them, or they staring at them?
People will spare glances, but they won't
Oh,
look at you with curiosity or anything.
okay.
Good mind in your own business looks. That's basically what you get. I assume that you're headed to the inn.
Yeah, let's do inn first.
You approach the inn and find that it is relatively the same. You are greeted from over the counter once you get within a certain range by what you would assume is the innkeeper. As he says, the hero's return.
Yes, Erwin, we have.
I'm sorry to hear about your losses.
Yes, well, we're hoping to recover at least one of them.
He pulls up
But
a
that is-
pouch
Thank
of
you.
gold and says, I know it will do nothing for your spirits, but a deal is a deal.
What has happened? Who runs Vallaki?
That is an interesting question. Shortly after you left, but after the guards were
Push
able
up,
to
like.
restore some semblance of order, a nobleman came in, and, well, next thing we know, he started it of course, but other people were saying that perhaps with the lack of nobility, that the priest should be the one in charge.
Revolution.
Good, I agree. Who is this nobleman?
I did not catch his name. He was quite a persuasive speaker. It is the father that is in charge of the town now.
Good.
Though it did not come with a small amount of bloodshed before he arrived. Though
The burgomaster's family?
some
Does Victor live?
that I do not know. I know that his wife has been killed, but I could not say for his son. Though
I will go and see.
I have seen no one parading around his son's body, so.
Okay.
What just happened to his manor?
The Watcher's children. The Watcher boys. What has happened to them?
One's dead and one is missing.
I'm sorry, Sigurd, you were saying?
The manor. If it's still intact, Victor might still be there.
The manor was raided. I suspect anything of value has been taken from there by now.
Probably except Victor's stuff. Probably would have fireballed anyone who fucking went in there. Also, there's a magic trap on it, so I doubt they got into his room. Okay. I will
And the watch
count the gold. Oh yeah, that's actually a good plan.
I am unsure. I heard that there was a group of people going up to raid it like the other place, but I haven't heard anybody coming back or flashing any new wealth around.
Sounds
Lady Watcher had some devoted people to her name, so perhaps it has been protected somewhat.
You should deal with that at some point.
That character, what was that boy's name that we questioned that one time ago?
Oh, the one that Father Lucian thought stole the bones?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but, he does.
I will ask him,
I'll ask him about his
Milovich.
yeah, Milovich.
I'll ask him about his father.
That was trapped in the closet.
The boy is doing much better, and as is his father. While raiding the house, I hear that they found the boy's father, starved near to death. Obviously, they set him free, and he's currently with his family.
Good.
Oh, that is good. So, your brother, David,
Ah, yes.
what is your problem with him?
It was a long time ago. You already know of the gems,
Yeah,
correct?
we recovered one. And the other has been lost to the saga. We are going to deal with the
And
twins.
another is missing.
Has been missing for a long time.
I know very well. You see, the night it went missing, my brother was off with his bride-to-be. He neglected his duties, and that is why it is missing. But given what has been happening recently, I'm wondering if perhaps 20 years is long enough to go without speaking. Not forgiving, but speaking.
I think it would be wise to speak to your brother. There are plenty of people in this place who do not make it 20 years at all.
At least remove the hatchet or holster it, I suppose.
Perhaps now that things have calmed down.
Yes.
When they made their delivery, they told us some about what you've been doing. That's how I knew that you kept your promise.
We always do.
If there's anything else I can help you with, all you need to do is ask.
Yes, actually, if you can. I need a glass eye, and I'll discuss within the specifications. If you know of a place this could be attained, or you know of anyone who could find out where a place where something of this sort can be obtained, I would be grateful.
I would say your best bet would be the Vistani camp.
Then I will ask them.
It is somewhat exotic.
And yeah, once we
Either Tavio or the Toymaker.
Toymaker might have
probably not. But we should talk to Octavio next. Is Octavio in?
Of course. Telling his tales in his room as usual.
Okay. Let's go speak to him.
Just partially worried he would have headed out by now.
You ascend the stairs and come in at the tail end of a story about the smallest crocodile that you have ever seen. And
One of
scattered
the stories involve really small
applause.
things that aren't supposed to be small.
Scattered applause and a few chuckles. A jovial half elf then once finishing, when you get like kind of close, like turns and says, "Ah, my friends, I had known that you had made it out before things got too iffy here, and I had hoped that you would return now that things have been somewhat calmed."
Yes, we speak to you though. It's of an urgent matter.
Ah, of course. I have a moment now that I've been able to break. Perhaps I should also speak with you.
Yes.
He leads you like up some stairs, and then you come to you enter like his room.
Right.
I was gonna say it's crowded even
I
more
will-
so, but it's not.
I will wait outside and with. What was your name?
Ari.
Alright.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah.
I'll take crack with me and go talk to Antonio. Once he drops his disguise, I will say to him, so I heard after we left, a mysterious and charming nobleman came in and persuaded the people to put Father Lucian in charge. I assume you know nothing about this, of course.
No more than my own suspicions.
Okay, guys. This fucking tries power. Never mind, Antonio.
I am only thankful that it was able to still the restlessness in the town, and that it did not impede you.
Yes, well,
Where are the others?
Grayla is dead. Ismark is left, and Irene has been taken to Castle Ravenloft. We must go to retrieve her. I do not think we can defeat the demon at this point, but escaping with her.
Do you still possess Grayla's body?
No. She is one of his spawn by now, I'm sure of it.
One of his?
Yes.
He
drank her.
I figure he doesn't know that you fought Strahd.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
And in character, so like,
We went to
do you speak of him?
Yes, we went to When we went to the Wizards of Wines, we found that that two of their magic gems had been stolen, one by the Witch of the Saga, one by the Druids of Yesterhill. We went to Yesterhill to stop them from summoning a creature known as Winter Splinter, some sort of massive blight, if I had to imagine, although I did not see it firsthand. Once there, Strahd showed up and insisted that we wait and patiently watch the ritual. Grayla, in a mistake, angered him and forced a fight where none was necessary. It got her killed, and now she is with him. Before he killed the rest of us, Irina offered to go with him in order to obtain our clemency. But once he turns her into a spawn, he has no reason to let us live. If we can reobtain her, that will allow us some degree of bargaining power. Additionally, she is my student. It would be improper for her to die before me. Whether you wish to help us or not is fine. I understand if your own self-preservation takes precedence, but I will not allow my student to come to harm while I still draw breath. You understand?
There's no way that you can be persuaded to delay this until we are better prepared.
There is none. Each day that goes by, she could be dead by now already. But regardless, we must then, if she has become one of his, we must kill her and take her corpse to someone who can resurrect her.
And I could not convince you that her life is not worth costing us victory against Strahd. I understand how that might sound, especially given that you have taken her as a student. But one woman's life, even as precious as a student's, against the slaying of evil in this land forever. Is there no way I could convince you it would not be a regrettable but acceptable sacrifice.
Once she's dead, he has no reason to let any of us live. You may be hidden and protected here, but everywhere I go I am seen. Once she has been turned to his side, he will merely kill us. If we have her in our grasp, we can use her to bargain for our safety until we are better prepared. I'm not saying we go in and kill him now, for I believe that will fail. What I am saying is that we go in and rescue her and leave with a powerful bargaining chip. Arena Caustiel is the only thing that Strahd cares about in this land, and he has her. That weakens our position.
He stops and is lost in deep thought for a moment. You can tell he's running over a great number of things in his mind.
Out of character,
Tell
I
me.
realized that this is really stupid.
Oh,
We
yeah.
absolutely should
Oh.
just leave her, but Sasha
Tell me,
doesn't want to.
when you went up there, did you perhaps, when you were at the vineyard, notice anything strange, perhaps concerning ravens?
Yes. There were ravens that have been following us.
Are you certain?
Yes. Well, as certain as I can be. There was one that followed us before we even came to Vallaki. And then after we fended off the vampires, my creatures informed me that more or less that a were-raven had killed the last vampire who escaped. Additionally, when we were at the winery, swarms of ravens came to our defense to attack our enemies, and they protected us along the road on the way back. I believe they might still be following us.
Do you believe the MacLeod family is composed of were-ravens?
Maybe. Why don't you ask them?
I have, but they've been very evasive. You see, there's a group known as the Keepers of the Feather, and I've been on their trail for quite some time. It is the other thing that I referred to that I was attempting to look into, in addition to the Vistani camp. And if I know who they are, I believe that I could gain their assistance against Strahd. They could be a very powerful ally.
Well, if the Montaukov family is the Order of the Feather, would we have not gained their alliance already?
Yes, but they might not be stating it outright. They're cautious, if trustworthy.
Let me go speak to Erwin then. I will sort this out.
He stops. He's like, actually, you are on a schedule. Perhaps I should.
If you wish to. I do have stuff. It says we do need to gather a few more supplies before we leave.
How long will you be in town?
Another couple of hours maybe. Perhaps longer, it depends. Actually, real quick, when I was walking up the stairs, how much money did Erwin give us? Because how much money he gave us will actually determine how long we stay here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how much money he gave us and if Victor is alive determines how long we stay here. Because if I can poach another spell out of this spell, then I'm going to do so, and we'll spend the extra hours. Well, Sasha would argue for spending the extra hours for that, because I want Fireball. I'm tired of not being able to kill a bunch of stuff. Need that damage. Tired of Strahd being like,
More spells will only help.
okay, good one. Or actually,
I can understand.
realistically, I should grab fly because if we're going to be going to Castle Ravenloft, being able to fly would help a lot. We have to get up this tower.
No, we don't.
No. We're up the tower.
It's
Conversely, attach rope to your 9 tiny servants and have them climb. Sure.
Okay, jokes aside, that's a fucking awesome
the
idea.
money. The money you were given, it was like 250 gold, and then like 270 electrum, and then like 350 silver.
So I will tell him 4 hours. Then we leave.
Don't leave before seeing me again. I might be able to have something for you. I might have something for you.
But he's not going to come with us.
We shall see.
You have to go.
He might.
go talk to the innkeeper.
6. 186. Okay, and you guys can add 113 gold here.
Already done.
I won't keep you any
So
longer.
much more gold than I do.
Make haste.
I will make haste.
And
And
he
I will
like
tell
says like
them.
Asperline.
I will tell them if you want to go to the shop and attempt to acquire rations or anything like that, you should do so. I will be heading to the mansion to speak with Victor.
We do not know the state of the town. Should not be traveling alone still.
I will be fine. I'm going to turn and go. Yeah, you guys go. I'll be fine.
Well,
Or
it
we
isn't
can-
smart, but
Well, we can split into
You're
twos if you
insisting.
want. Ari, do you come with me?
Sure.
Alright.
I can.
No, it's fine. You go with Grant.
Alright.
you're smelly.
No, it's
Very smelly, really.
You non-humans get away from that.
No. New
Understood.
person. Super suspicious. Do not trust.
there.
You
I know, but I'm more human than them.
you split to do what you can before departing, and we split until next time.
Okay.
I am Archdavid Harper, still on Twitter and Instagram. What about the rest of y'all?
I am Mario Villas. You can find more of me at Lights Camera Initiative on Twitter. Additionally, you can find me on Thursdays on the Greyhawk channel and on the Tainted Lands channel. Additionally, I am going to be in a couple weeks on 8-Bit Gaming's Whose Line Is It Anyway? D&D one shot. It's going to be cool. It's going to have audience participation. It's going to have a lot of improv. It's going to be very silly. So check that out. It's going to be dope. Yeah, and that's all for me.
I am Robert. I'm playing Ari. Now, stop giving me shit, guys. And yeah, that's all.
Playing crack as always, and as per usual, I ain't got shit on social media. So.
Yeah, the only social media I'm active on is Steam, but that's arguably social media.
Well, we'll also
You
take
play
closing
games
It's a
on
words.
gaming platform.
Social media.
You can plug or you can closing words. It doesn't matter.
It's all good. We'll see how it goes. And hey, you can't get any worse, right?
Sure.
Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.